you're an organization and you say something like this: we don't have good data reporting, siloed, it's manual, it's a pain in the butt. Is that a big problem for us or is that a small problem? Okay. And so my answer is it depends on your size as an organization. So it's not great for anyone, but if you're like a 4-person team, then you probably just intuitively have a good handle of what's going on inside of your organization. However, as you grow as a founder or whatever you are, you get less and less plugged in to the day-to-day processes and what's actually happening. Once you grow beyond 50 people, especially, you definitely are not going to have a full idea or full transparency into what's going on outside of the teams of projects that you're intimately involved in. So unless you're really small, this is a big problem. Why is it a big problem? Well, there's a lot of manual work time spent cobbling together a report with Excel wizardry, right? Or you're just not getting it, so you don't know what's happening. You don't have clear insights into your operations, into your sales, into your expenses, what you're spending money on, right? You don't have the ability to be proactive instead of reactive because you can't use data to look at what you expect to happen. Instead, you're just waiting for the next fire and reacting to it when the alarm goes off, right? And all of the reports you have are segmented and siloed. So the ones that do exist are probably manual, they're a pain, and they don't talk to the other ones, right? So your CRM doesn't talk to your GL, right? And all of these other connections are not being made. So they're all just in this silo. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because it costs you real money. All right. We just worked with a 17-person company that has this challenge of large data efforts. They have this challenge of very large and siloed data sources, right? And one of the challenges around big data efforts is that it's hard to calculate an ROI up front because you don't know exactly what you're going to find because you don't have the data. You can't guess yet, right? But with them, it was kind of the same way, but we decided that we were going to work on a data warehouse project, right? And so we wanted to bring all of these different sources together. What we found, I'll cut through all of the details, but what we found is that after cobbling together 7 different data sources and building this centralized data warehouse, we were able to find them over $250,000 in invoices that they shouldn't have paid, and they were able to request and get a refund on because they just didn't have any insight from their GL, from their accounts payable, back to their CRM and their vendor management process to where they knew if they were supposed to pay those or not, right? And so this lack of insight and lack of connectivity costs real money. Situations like that play out over and over and over again in organizations that do not have transparency inside of their data. Again, they didn't know that ROI was there before they did it. That's why it's hard to calculate the ROI of really investing in your data because you don't know what you're missing until you have the data, right? But pretty much always, there is value to be found there. And even if there's not, you're putting a control in place to prevent something from happening in the future. Because of a lack of transparency, it does cause a real problem for organizations because you have no idea what you're actually missing until you have good, transparent data. There's no better management tool than a completely transparent business where you know everything that is going on. If you do not feel that you have that and your organization has grown beyond a handful of people, that is a major problem for you as a leader and a manager. And it's something that you should remedy sooner rather than later because it only gets more complicated the larger you get.